video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can scale your ad the right way without messing up with the performance. A lot of people run Facebook ad, but when they increase their budget, you find out that you start getting lower results and your cost per conversion start going up. The reason is because you scale the advert the wrong way. So there's a right way to scale advert. Actually, there are 3 ways you can scale an advert. I'll also do a video on that in this channel. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notification bell. But in this video, I want to show you how to use automated scaling to do that. One of the ways you scale Facebook ad is to increase the budget little by little. But if you do it like that, you're not going to have all the time to come into your ad manager to increase the budget every day. So that is why this is important. This is just like automation. We're about to give Facebook a rule and tell Facebook to automatically increase our budget by a specific percentage every single day. That is what we want to do in this video. And how to do that is actually very simple. So the first thing to do is to actually make sure that you are getting a good result with your ad, because if you're running ad and you're not getting a good result, you shouldn't be thinking of scaling. All your energy should be on how can I get an advert that is working. So let's say, for instance, you are running a lead generation ad and you are getting 150 or 200 naira cost per lead. At that point, you might be asking yourself, what can I do to lower the cost that I'm spending to generate lead? Because by the end of the day, they're actually coming to get maybe a free material if you're using a free lead magnet. So you want it to be costing you kind of lower. Maybe for me, every time I run ad, I have an acceptable cost per lead. What I mean by acceptable cost per lead is this. When you run ad, you need to know how much within yourself that you can pay to actually generate one lead. So for instance, when I run ad, I told myself my acceptable cost per lead for this particular campaign is going to be 100 naira, which means if I publish 15 ad, for example, and 5 of them is giving me cost per lead at a cheaper cost, like a lower cost than 100 naira, that means those are the 5 adverts I'm going to leave. Other ones might be giving me lead, but they are giving me lead at 150, 130, 140. At that point, I might not want to keep on running that ad, especially if I have allowed the adverts to run for like 5 days and still the price is not coming down. I would just like to turn it off. What that means is that I need to focus those ones that are giving me lower cost per lead. So those ones that are giving me lower cost per lead are the ones that I'm going to be thinking of how can I scale. But you do not scale immediately. You have to allow your advert to run for at least maybe 5 to 6 days so that you can gather a lot of data, so that you can build momentum. You know, when your advert just starts, the thing just started. So you do not really have a very good data to make a good decision at that point. You might run and scale it, and the next day you are seeing your advert is now underperforming because you scaled very fast. So you don't scale fast, you actually scale when it is the right time. Do you understand? So what we're going to do now is, for instance, some of these adverts that I'm running here, some of them are giving me results. So what I want to do is I want to scale, and I don't want to be coming online every day to be changing my budget. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use automated rule. I bet you, if you're a Facebook advertiser, you might not have heard about automated rule, especially how to use it to scale. But I'm going to show you how to do it right here. And one more thing I want to talk about is most advertisers complain that, oh, they are using so budget, but all of a sudden Facebook increased their budget even without them telling Facebook. Sometimes it might be that you turned on automated rules, so you have to turn it off. First of all, we need to now go here, just come to more, click on create a new rule. If you want to scale now, click on create a new rule. All right, so once it's open, we click on next, and now it's asking us to give it a name. For me, I like to give it a name so that when I look at it, I will remember what that particular thing is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type scaling by increasing budget. I told you that there are 3 ways that you can scale an ad, but make sure you subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be doing video on that. So apply rule 2 This is where it's asking you a question. Do you want to apply the rule to all campaign? Do you want to apply the rule to all active ads, or do you want to apply the rule to ad sets? For me, I always choose all campaigns, right? So all campaigns. Then what is the action you want to apply? That's the what do you want Facebook to do for you automatically? Do you want them to turn off the ad? And this is actually very good. For instance, let's say you are somebody that is very busy, you don't always have time to check your ad manager. You can actually, and you know that once your advert starts getting lead at maybe 150, you know that that advert will probably not work. So you can tell Facebook, I want you to turn off this advert when my cost per result is 150. That's another different video anyway. So let me explain what we want to do here. Increase daily budget by. That is what we want to do. Increase daily budget by. Now it's going to ask you, any number you put here is in percentage. There are two ways. You can tell Facebook to increase daily budget by giving him a price. So you can say, every day I want you to just add 500. Every day I want you to add 500. So if you want to do that, you're going to select this second one, which has the Naira sign. But I like to use percentage. So I will just do 3%. I'm not in hurry, right? I'm going to do 3%. The reason I'm doing 3% is because, you know, one of the things that actually mess up your Facebook ad scaling is when you change the budget and you increase it at a very high percent, you are going to scatter the algorithm and the data that Facebook has been gathering. So it's going to go back, send it to square one. It's going to start again. All right. But when you are running ad and you're increasing the budget little by little, it's not going to affect that data. It's not going to affect the algorithm and all the data that I have gathered. So what I want to do is every day I want you to increase my budget by 3%. Now, when you say 3%, is it not small? 3% is small, but it is better for me to be increasing it small, small, small. In 30 days, the budget would have increased very well. Instead of going to increase it by 30% and is just go and scatter all the algorithm and send it back to square one. So I like to increase by 3%. Of course, you can increase by 5%. You can increase by 10%, right? So I just put 3% there. Now, what is the maximum daily budget cap? What this means is, how much do you want that when Facebook keep increasing until your budget is now that they will not stop? For instance, for me, I like to use 100,000. Now, you must not use 100,000. The reason I use 100,000 is because I always have lots of budget for my Facebook ad. So I want Facebook, this particular campaign, if my daily budget reach 100,000, I want them to stop increasing it. So just allow it to be running at that 100,000. That's what it means. For you, your own might be 30,000, your own might be 40,000. It just depends, right? Now, action frequency. How often do I want Facebook to increase my budget? Of course, this is very simple. I want you to increase it once every day. So there are a lot of options. You can increase once every 12 hours. You can increase once weekly. You can increase once bi-weekly. But I just want every day by around 12 a.m. to 1 a.m., I want you to just increase my budget by 3%. That's the entire rule that we are setting here. Do you understand? Okay. Now, we still have some things to talk about. Now, what is the condition? What are the conditions that need to be met before this rule is applied? Do you understand? You know, when you are doing automation, there has to be a condition. For instance, if you are doing email list and you set up automation, the condition is when somebody join my email list, I want you to send the person this message. Do you understand? So the condition I'm giving it now is, if my cost per result is smaller than, now pay attention. You know, I told you that my acceptable cost per lead is 100 Naira, right? So what I'm going to tell Facebook now is, if my cost per result is smaller than, not greater, smaller than 80 Naira, I'm going to explain why I put 80 Naira here. If my cost per result is smaller than 80 Naira, I want you to now start scaling that advert by increasing the budget by 3%. Why do I put 80 Naira and not 100 Naira? Because if you put 100 Naira, and remember that your acceptable cost per result is 100 Naira, what that means that when Facebook starts scaling, whether you like it or not, the moment you start scaling your ad, your cost per result will go up to some extent. Do you understand? So when I put 80 Naira, when my cost per result is 80 Naira and Facebook starts scaling, it's likely that it will end up at 100 naira or a little amount above 100 naira. Do you understand? So that's how I do it. So I just choose 80 naira and I'll click on this ad. All right. Once I click on ad, I'm going to explain one more thing now. Once I click on ad, a new things come up. Lifetime impression must be greater than 8,000. What that means, when I started this video, I told you that some people scale fast. So you run advert, and this happens all the time. You run advert today, maybe you get good result today, and the next day you're already trying to scale the ad. It doesn't work like that. So what this means is that the advert you want me to scale must have gotten up to 8,000 impressions. Let me explain. What that means is that people must have seen that advert at least 8,000 times on Facebook. And for people to see your advert at least 8,000 times, give or take, it must have reached 4,000 people or more. Do you understand? Why Facebook is doing this is that they know that if your advert actually reached 4,000, it must have gathered a lot of data and the algorithm have now picked up that this advert is working. So assuming that I set up this rule and the advert I'm currently running have not reached 4,000 people, it will not apply. Do you understand? It will not apply until I reach 4,000 people and get 8,000 impression. Now, I just made up that 4,000 because before you get 8,000 impression, it must have reached 4,000 people. It could have reached more, maybe 5,000, maybe 6,000, but it must have reached 4,000 people. Well, let me explain this. If your advert reach 4,000 people and you get 8,000 impressions, do you know what that means? That means that every single person that adverts have reached have seen the advert 2 times on Facebook. So when you times 4,000 times 2, that is giving you 8,000 impression. What is impression, by the way? Impression is how many times your advert has been seen on Facebook, not how many people your advert have reached. So that is why, I'm also going to do a video on a lot of metrics some of the Facebook advertisers need to pay attention to. And I'm going to explain all the metrics and what they are about. So ensure that you subscribe to this channel. I give a lot of value on Facebook ad, lead generation, marketing, and sales. Please subscribe and turn on notification bell so that you can get more value. So once I have done this, all I need to do now is to choose a few more things here. For time range, I always like to leave it at 37 months. For schedule, I always like to leave it at daily. Then this just shows that this is the account that is going to be getting notification. So once I do that, I click on create. Do you know what I have just done? I have just given Facebook a rule, like a command. I want you to be scaling my advert by increasing my budget by 3% every day until I have reached 100,000 naira per day on my campaign. Now, for some of you, maybe you might be starting with 2,000 naira. It's okay. But what that means is that it's going to take a long time before they now reach that maximum cap. Depending on the number you put there, you have to select the number you put there, right? So that is how it works. I learned this from one of the best Facebook advertisers. I have been using it and it has been super helpful in scaling my ad. Number one, without always coming to my ad manager to increase the budget. Number two, without having to worry, oh, I'm not sure if I scaled it right. What if the scaling have messed up the advert that is working? It's not okay. It's not okay because you suffered, you spend a lot of money to test before you can get what is working. So why do you have to now mess everything up because you are scaling wrongly? Use this method and you are going to be okay with it. All right. I trust you find this helpful and make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you can learn more on Facebook ad and lead generation. Cheers.